The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik, and thank you for joining us here on show number 560. That's right, 560 shows, and today is going to be awesome. We'll have great information, super guests abound right here today on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I would encourage you to go to the website, which can be found at stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio, where you can not only hear this show, you could see the show. In addition, you can access the show archives at stewart.com/radio. And now let's get down to business as we welcome Leslie Lerner. Her companies are Leslie Lerner Properties and Learn More. And also she serves as a commissioner with TREC, the Texas Real Estate Commission. Leslie, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Bill. Glad to be here.
Well, here you are. The introduction, you have so many things, and these are the ones we know of. So there may be another layer, but who knows? Let's first of all talk about your company, Leslie Lerner Properties, as you help buyers and sellers in a tremendous way every day.
Thanks. Yes, Leslie Lerner Properties. I've been in business or in the real estate business for 32 years now. Oh. And Leslie Lerner Properties is actually the home of flat fee listings and rebated commissions. I started that when technology changed and people were able to shop online. And so I have a way of giving back.
That's right. In fact, I was on your website this morning. There it is, flat fee. And that's very interesting in this marketplace. And not everybody does that. In fact, most don't. So it's kind of unique. Give us a little word about how you help the sellers with listings in this flat fee configuration.
So many sellers are used to paying a percentage of their sale towards real estate commissions. In my scenario, I have a flat fee depending on the price of the home.
So depending on the price, then there's your fee. But in the bottom line, it sounds like it will help save a few dollars.
It helps save a lot of money.
So as far as geographically, let's tell people where you help buyers and sellers most of the time, or let's say in the last 20 transactions, because you move around like most realtors, but yeah.
I do move around. I'm in the Houston area and the surrounding suburbs.
Well, that's kind of big. So
it is big.
I mean,
it's where it takes you.
If we think about just the Houston area, and Houstonians listen to the show, but those that are outside of Houston, man, this is a gigantic area.
You're right.
And then when we start thinking, Leslie, about the suburbs, each and every one of them is growing like crazy. And they're large entities all on their own.
You're right. That Houston is huge, and the suburbs continue to grow. And I get out there a lot of the time. If I have a full plate, I may not go to the far-reaching suburbs, but I am out in the Katy area, Cypress area, those surrounding us.
And we hear a lot about Fulshear, too. You ever get out there?
I'm actually out there right now.
Give us a quick word on buyers in the way you're helping people in the unique way. What do you do for buyers?
So buyers, I also do rebated commissions. So it depends on the number of homes I show. If I show 1 to 3 homes, I rebate 1.5%. If I show 4 to 6, I rebate 1%. And it usually now depends on what the percentage is that is being offered, or how the buyers want to pay.
Now let's say if we're at 10. Looking at 10 homes, now we're off the track.
Now we're off track.
We're back to normal.
It doesn't usually take people that long since they can find everything online now.
Well, that's a good point. As far as, and that's a big time job, as all realtors in the real estate profession, you're helping buyers and sellers. That's all consuming. But yet, along the way, you started something and you introduced it here on the show, I want to say about a year ago, Learn More.
Yes. So I launched a technology company called Learn More. It's your helping hand to understand. It's a really cool site. You can take any sort of contract you may have. It could be real estate, it could be energy, it could be a residential service contract, insurance, whatever it may be. You upload it to the site and you can translate it to any language. It gives you layman term meanings of every clause in the contract or the document. It gives you FAQs. It gives you examples, and there's chatbots that you can ask it more questions. It's just a great way to learn what you're signing before you sign. So many people click through contracts or documents, and they have no clue what they're signing. It puts everyone at risk. This is to help take that risk out of it. The key word in our industry and across the board, I believe, is transparency. And this Learn More just provides so much transparency to transactions.
And am I about right? It's been out for about a year?
I launched it about a year ago and then had to redo it, so to speak. And thankfully now I feel like it is so ready to go, and it provides anybody with so much transparency.
Well, it's interesting that you even found the place for this. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I would think, and being in real estate as the starting point, you're thinking of ideas all the time, because you're analytical, very fact-based, detail-oriented. So
yes, I have ideas all the time, and I never do anything with them. And for somehow or another, this one, I just said, we're going for it. And the people I met with said, there is nothing out there like this. You should do it. And I'm like, are you sure? I mean, it's a huge risk, and I'm very risk adverse, and I went for it.
So let's remind, people that are who would be in the market for Learn More, and the website, by the way, is learn, LERN, more, MORE.com. Remind people who would be in the market for that. It goes beyond real estate.
This is for anyone. Somebody called me the other day and said, can I put my last will and testament in there to understand what it means? And I said, absolutely. My dad was having some medical tests. I didn't understand what they said. I uploaded it, and I understood it right after that. So you can use it for anything. Energy contracts, if you're getting a new electricity provider, if you're getting an insurance contract, if you have a title commitment, anything can be put in there.
That's fascinating, because contracts have so much language, a language all their own depending on the industry. So
yes, and the key thing has been people love the language translation. So if your native language is not English, you can translate it to whatever you need it to be.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So there's I don't know how it does it, but there must be some certain secrets.
It has a brain of its own.
Awesome. Okay, TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission. Let's tell people what TREC does and also what you do for TREC.
TREC's mission is to protect consumers, and we license individuals for real estate and inspectors, and we regulate. That is our main position. We help with legislation and statute, consumer protection. For
the state of Texas. So all realtors are under the TREC umbrella.
Correct. We license all people that want to practice real estate in the state of Texas. We also license inspectors.
That's a big job as well. And along the way, I think on a previous time you were here, if there's complaints that people have in their real estate experience, the complaint ends up going to TREC usually. Is that right? Correct.
People have to file complaints through TREC in order for us to be able to regulate. So everything is complaint driven.
We're talking to Leslie Lerner, and that's great. You have a great name, Leslie.
Oh, thank you.
Leslie Lerner Properties, and then you have Learn More. That's the name of your company. So we are learning all kinds of things today from Leslie Lerner.
Well, thank you.
TREC. Yes. What are some of the things that are the hot topics right now?
Some of the hot topics just in real estate in general are private listing services, which are also called pocket listings. Transparency is a huge, huge word these days, and broker representation, or buyer representation, actually.
Let's tell people what a pocket listing is in case they don't know.
It is when a brokerage gets a listing and they do not want to put it on the MLS. It's kept in-house. So people, as in the general public or the consumer, is not going to see it on the MLS or Zillow or some of the other forms that they get their listings.
So how long will they keep it as a pocket listing? Let's say this broker does this, or this realtor keeps their pocket.
It's really up to the seller of how long they want to keep it there.
Because if I'm a seller, my whole idea is, hey, I want everybody to know about the property. I would say don't keep it in your pocket. Let the world know.
that's exactly how I feel as well. I don't think some of these brokerages that are offering this are explaining the downfalls of this whole policy. I don't think there's enough disclosure in it. I know one company just came out with a great disclosure showing what it could do and how getting less exposure could harm the consumer.
Is there anything else that's kind of one of the hot topics with Trek these days?
So, in general, not just with Trek, is buyer representation and getting forms signed saying who represents who. In Texas, we don't have legislation that tells us exactly when this form has to be signed. We've always had a buyer's representation agreement. There's current legislation that could be passed soon regarding the timing of that form and if it's mandatory or not, but that hasn't happened yet. This is happening all over the U.S.
Leslie, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know about any of these things? Leslie Lerner Properties, Learn More, and of course, Trek.
Just keep listening. There's a lot of things going on, and things are going to continue to change for a while.
And that's what people, I think, real estate professionals, a lot of them, when I ask them what keeps them going, it's always changing. It's always interesting. Nothing's ever the same. So we could tell them it's going to keep going. It's going to be dynamic from here on.
Agreed. And I think it's very important that people know that they really need to interview who they want to work with and understand what they have to offer and their competency in the area and in real estate in general.
Leslie, let's tell people how they can reach you, Leslie Lerner.
My website is leslielernerproperties.com. My phone number is 713-489-9900. leslielernerproperties.com, 713-489-9900.
Leslie, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Bill.
Let's welcome Diana Hefner. Her company is RE/MAX Associates Northeast. Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Well, here we are. You are in Kingwood. People call that the livable forest. You're here with us today. Let's tell people about your company, RE/MAX, up there in the Northeast.
Well, RE/MAX Associates Northeast has been in Kingwood since 1978. They are one of the original real estate companies in Kingwood.
The first thing I think about, I wonder, because I've been to Kingwood a million times, I wonder what it looked like back there in 1978.
Well, there were a lot more trees back then. It was a lot smaller than it is today. Today, it's grown to be somewhere between 70 and 80,000 people that live there right now.
That's very nice, too. Also, there's some water elements. There's a lake up there. And when we say Northeast, for those listening outside of Houston, we don't mean New Jersey. We mean northeast of Houston. Right, Diana?
Correct.
So let's tell people, as far as right now, you're helping both buyers and sellers. Are you helping more buyers or more sellers right now?
I do a good combination of both buyers and sellers. I love helping buyers and I love helping sellers, so it's a nice mix.
So you're getting a good mix right now. And as far as the market trends up there in Kingwood, what are you seeing right now? Is it very active or what's happening?
Well, I think the market in Kingwood is very good right now. We have about a 4-month supply of inventory, and the sales are a little bit down from last year, which is normal because we have certain things in the environment for buyers, such as the interest rates and being a little bit high, as well as insurance premiums are a little bit high. So we have to work through some of those things with buyers and sellers as well. But the market is good. Consistently, homes sell at about 97 to 98% of their list price. And they're on the market for about 37 days on average.
Wow, what's wrong with that? That sounds pretty good to me.
That's really good.
And also, let's tell people, your experience goes way back. How many years are you helping buyers and sellers?
I have been in this business for 24 years.
So you mentioned the word interest rates. So that long ago, do you remember what the interest rate was? Because you must have seen them go up, down, and every way.
Oh, they've been everywhere. I want to say when I started, they were in the 5s, somewhere in the 5s. You know, they've gone up in the 8s, and then they went all the way down into the 2s, and now they're back up to the 7s. And with good credit, you can get it, I'm sure we'll hear later, but in the 6s.
So there's a lot of variations. But in addition, you've seen a lot of changes along the way. What was it about real estate that got you interested to begin with? Why did you say, "Oh, I want to be a real estate professional"?
I've always loved houses. I've always loved construction, and I've loved people. I've always, my background's in customer service, and I've always loved getting to know people, helping people get into their dream homes with their families. And in my business, I have always gotten a lasting relationship with many of my clients that I keep in contact with them today after many years.
Yeah, at this point, here you are in the business. And have you always been in the Kingwood area?
Yes,
these many
yes,
years?
I have.
So, wow, you're probably having people talk about you all the time. Oh, I'm thinking I want to sell my home. Oh, call Diana, right?
Yes, you can't go to the grocery store without running into people that you know. And I've also sold homes to children of clients that I have helped over the years that have grown up, and they now are starting their families and have come back to Kingwood to raise their families.
See, what a great feeling, other than the financial compensation and things that we look for in our profession, to have that extra vote of confidence and where people are talking about you in a great way and referring you. That must be tremendous.
It is. It's a really great feeling.
And speaking of feelings and guesswork, how do you feel things are going to go for the rest of the year? Because here we are, well into the year, moving right along.
I feel very optimistic about the rest of the year. We're hitting the spring season, and that typically is a very good real estate time of year where people are getting their yards ready and school's about ready to get out. So that's typically a really good time for families to list their house when it's time to move to wherever it is they want to go, or if they want to buy, they want to get in during the summer if they have children to start school at the right time.
No doubt about it. And as you have this referral, this built-in referral system, because people know you, they like you, as far as social media, do you do anything there also to keep things going?
I have a pretty big social media presence, and I'm friends with most all of my clients, so I keep up with them on social media and see their kids grow up and all the events they go to, and try to pay attention to their kids and their families and what they're doing.
And regarding social media, which platform or platforms do you like the best?
I'm mostly on Facebook.
And that works pretty well.
It does work well for the people that I'm in contact with. They're more Facebook people.
I'm more of a Facebook person too, by the way. As you're helping people, and we talked about the interest and mortgage, how often are you running into the cash buyer out there?
There are cash buyers out there, and this first quarter, I've had a pretty good first quarter for business. I've ran into 2 or 3 cash buyers in the last 6 months. So they're out there, and they're generally empty nesters. They're moving. A couple of them have moved from out of state to come to Texas to be near their family, but they're out there.
I'm glad you brought that up. So you're seeing apparently some people still moving in from other states, other cities. How do they find you, Diana Hefner?
Well, either from referral, they know somebody that lives here, or it's a referral from another real estate company.
As far as, do you think the social media helps also for them to identify you and they see you, or maybe they meet you first or hear about you, then they check you out on the social media?
Yeah, they'll do both ways. They'll meet me and then check me out online to make sure I'm who I say I am and that I'm safe.
Well, that's right. And that's and that also, as I did some research on you, that's one of the first things I did, or as I do to most guests, I find out, hey, how can I learn more about this person and understand you like cats and dogs and things like that, all from Facebook?
You sure can. You'll find me out all the time with my dog and my cat walking around Lake Houston.
Well, and actually, that's a good point, because as the realtor then, I'm just now putting myself in the realtor's role. If you're helping someone that maybe you haven't met before, same thing. You could learn about the person before you actually have the meeting, the listing presentation,
yes,
or whatever.
I might be known to look someone up a time or two
Right.
to make sure they're who they say they are.
We're in the world.
Get a few things that we have in common.
Yeah, me too. In fact, we're in a world we're all looking each other up in advance. I think it's fascinating. Who would have thought 25 years ago we'd have these tools?
Who would have thought? I know.
I don't know either. So here you are. As far as take us through say a day in the life. Now each day is different, each transaction's different, but give us an idea of just one of your typical days, what you're doing in your business world.
Well, that changes every day. If I'm working with a buyer, one of the things we do is we sit down, and communication is key with me. You can never over communicate with somebody, and I like to work with a lot of younger clients who haven't done this before, and I do many things based on my own experience. I treat people the way I would want to be treated, and I like to explain the whole process to people. And many people have never done this before, so I like to hold people's hands. I can be their mother for the transaction if need be, and sit and explain the whole process from start to finish so that they know what to expect and they know what the contract looks like. They know what negotiating looks like. And it's not just going out and looking at pretty houses. It's more of, that's the easy part. Once you get past that, it's knowing to look at their insurance. And some of the things that we're facing right now are up front having to have conversations we've never had to have before. And it's talking about insurance, and it's talking about, we're having to have conversations about roofs. And once they find a house they like, we have to sit down and talk about, call an insurance company up front to know what your premium is going to be and if they're going to like the age of the roof or not. And that's a new thing that we're having to talk about and figure out how to deal with some of these new issues that are out there in the real estate world.
That is so well put. In fact, that's a tremendous quote. You can never over communicate. I think that's a good one. But also, you're right on the nose. There's more talk about roofs. In my neighborhood just the other week, the guy next to me had a roof put on. The people over the fence had a roof put on. Roofs are going up everywhere, and a lot of it is a result of what you're talking about, because they're having conversations with the insurance companies, and as people are out there looking at homes, they're like, well, how old's the roof? So we're
right. And if it's over 15 years, it might be a problem. It might not. And if you can find the right insurance company that will give them a proper quote that isn't too expensive, but it's a conversation that has to be had up front. It used to be you just let your client go talk to an insurance company and they got an insurance quote and it was no big deal and you went on to closing. But you can't do that nowadays.
No doubt about it. And on a different note, as far as roofs go, I was out there for hours with my magnetic thing to make sure I didn't get a flat tire, because those nails go everywhere, Diana.
Oh, yes, they do. You can't trust the roofing companies. A lot of roofing companies are very good.
They're very good.
Making sure that the nails are picked up.
No doubt about it. Diana, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know about what you're doing?
I love what I'm doing, and I want to continue to be here to help people in the real estate world find the perfect home for you.
Diana, how can people reach you?
They can reach me with my phone number, which is 832-715-4022, or they could reach out to me on my website, which is DianaHeffnerSellsHomes.com, 832-715-4022.
Thanks for being with us, Diana.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's that time of the show to talk money again, and Mason Lee is with us today. His company is called Union Home Mortgage. Mason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Super excited.
Well, it's great to see you. Let's tell people about Union Home Mortgage.
Yeah, so Union Home Mortgage is a top 15 nationally ranked mortgage company in the nation. So we're a machine. About a month ago, we were actually NRL Mortgage, Nation's Reliable Lending, and Union Home Mortgage ended up buying us out and creating a partnership with us. And they wanted to be more known in the southern area, right? NRL Mortgage, we were pretty well known in the Houston area, and we were just looking to just get our systems and processes a little bit better. So we partnered with Union Home Mortgage, and it's been amazing.
So tell us some of the things that have stayed the same in terms of the great customer service and things like that. Even though the names change, you're still marching forward with great service.
Yeah, I think when you get a call that, hey, we're being bought out and we would love to have you at the next place, I think everyone gets those nerves, like you don't know what you're going to, right? But I had trust in our owners who I'm friends with, right? So I have trust in them. But everything has just gotten better. It's just straight up. Our rates, our service, our processes, our programs that we have. Like before, we didn't have renovation loans, like a 2 or 3K loan. So if someone sees a property they want to renovate and live in it and roll in the construction costs, repair costs into the loan, we can now offer that product. And we didn't have that before. We can also help with construction loans now, which we didn't have before. So just a lot of exciting things happening at Union Home with us.
So in a way, it sounds like you've expanded the menu.
100%. Yeah, my Rolodex has gotten bigger for sure. Need bigger pockets.
And that's one of the things, people that have either first-time buyers or those that have not purchased a home in the last 7 years or whatever amount of years, to find the right loan. How do you navigate someone or a couple as they're going through, hey, Mason, man, I don't know what kind of loan. Should we put this much down? I'm a veteran. I'm not a vet, whatever. How do we determine that?
Yeah, so my first step is always talk with the client first. I never just want to send them my application. The reason for that is people get so scared about getting a mortgage, and they stress themselves out. They stay up all night just worrying if they're going to get approved. So my first step is to always talk with the client first. Reason for that is we want to just talk through the scenario. We want to make sure they're being eased into the scenario. I would say 80% of my business is first-time buyers, right? So again, they come in stressed, they come in scared. So what I do is I hop on a call, about a 10 to 15-minute call, go through the scenario, ask them questions, have them ask me questions, just so when we get to the end of the call and I say, hey, do you have any other questions? I want them to say, you know what? No, you answered all of mine, or everything you went through, you had my questions in there. So my big thing is education. During high school, during college, they tell us, hey, getting a mortgage is going to be the biggest purchase of your life. But I don't remember taking classes in high school about getting a mortgage and buying a home. So my big thing coming out of college and always being interested in real estate, it's how can I help my friends buy a home and realize, hey, this isn't so hard as some people make it seem to think.
And you mentioned the first-time home buyer or buyers. What are some of the most common questions you hear from people that are, oh man, I never bought a home, Mason? What do they ask about?
Easy. Do I need 20% down?
So that's a big...
Always. I don't have 20% down. I don't have 20% down. I'm like, right. I don't know what TV you're watching or who's telling you this, but of course you don't need 20% down. We have down payment assistance. You don't even really need a down payment. Now, of course, I always want to lead in that, yes, you still need funds. You can't buy a home with no funds, no down payment, no closing costs. But if you don't have that down payment, we can get creative and we can help you find that down payment. So you do not need 20% down to buy a home.
So let the word go forth today. If there's any question,
you come to me. I'll help you out.
Go to Mason Lee. That's right. Well, it's interesting how certain things in any profession get ingrained. Like
I have no idea where that's coming from. Right? Is that just their parents, where they're just like, no, you need 20% to buy a home? That's what I hear a lot, because I do ask them, hey, where are you getting that information? It's like, oh, my dad told me. It's like, well, I mean, as long as your dad's been around, it's been 5 or 3% you can put down, not 20% down. So I think it's just coming from just unexperience from some people.
Well, it's interesting. I bet 1 million times a day people are saying, hey, Mason, what's the interest rate? You ever hear that?
Maybe about every hour.
Every hour? Does that drive you crazy or what?
I think when the rates started to go up, it was a little annoying, I guess I would say, a little bit. But now that's just how business is. Everyone wants lower rates. Everyone wishes they had that 2% rate that we all got. My first home, when I bought my first home in 2020, I have a 2.25. So, everyone wants that rate back, but I just bought my second home and I have a 6.875, right? So, you get what you get, and, you don't throw a fit. But, yes, that is the common question is, hey, when are rates coming back down? And my response back to them is, you don't know for sure. If you would have asked a loan officer last year if we would expect lower rates in 2025, we would all said, yeah, we'll probably see the 5s this year. But I think we've all seen the news, and we don't expect 5s to come about this year.
So then, other than the first-time buyers, what are some of the things that someone that's shopping for a mortgage, if you were on the other side of the coin, knowing what you know, what would what should people be thinking about when they're thinking about using the right company, the right individual like you, Mason Lee? What should they think about?
First step, I think a lot of people think, hey, I need to go talk to a realtor first. And what the realtor is going to tell you when you go to them first, they're going to ask you, are you pre-approved? So first step is, even if you're thinking a year out in advance, 8 months, 2 years in advance, talk to a mortgage lender. We don't have to do a hard pull on your credit if you're so worried about your credit score going down or such like that. But I think it's always good to have a plan well in advance of you wanting to buy a home. Reason for that is, if you come to me a month before you have to move out of your rental and there's things we need to work on, it's a little bit more stressful. And my job is to make it fun, right? A lot of people come into getting a mortgage so just so stressed out. And I want to make it fun and enjoyable. This should be a fun time of your life. But again, if you're coming to me a month in advance and we need to work on credit, we need to work on paying down debts, you're going to get stressed. But if you come to me 12 months in advance, I'm just going to give you a timeline of here's some things to work on from now until you're ready, and it's way less stressful.
And when you talk about being ready, do you run into people in time? Plan ahead is a good idea, but do you run into people that they want to buy a home, but when you start talking to them or find out about the financials of their lives, they're not ready?
Unfortunately, yeah.
How often is that? Out of 10, how often does that happen?
I was just about to say that. So out of 10, I would say every 3 days I'll get about 10 applications, I would say. Out of those 10 applications, maybe 6 of those are denied. So right now, especially with the higher rates, it's harder to get qualified because your debt to income ratio is going to be higher with that higher mortgage payment. And right now we're seeing a lot of credit issues, a lot of debt. So if you're looking out there and you're going to go buy a car, you do not need an $800 car payment. I know it's a nice car, but you do not need it, especially if you're looking to go buy a house.
Well, out of the 6 that are denied, okay, do they just give up and say, okay, well, I tried? Or how many of them stay with it and say, okay, Mason, what do I need to work on? I'm going to come back and see you. And what's a good amount of time where they could come at bat again?
Yeah, so my goal is 100% because for me, it's never a no. I never say no, you cannot buy. It's a not right now. And here's how we get there, right? So I always want them to come back. Now, some do get scared and, maybe they push back a couple years. But for the most part, I tell them, hey, if we're not ready right now, I want you to reach back out to me in 6 to 8 months. And let's just see where you're at that point. We don't need to re-pull credit, but let's just re-conversate and see where you're at. And maybe we need to kind of evaluate where you're at. But I hope 100% of those people come back just to see where they're at a year from now. Maybe they need to lease again for 12 months. But that gives them that time to work on their credit, save up funds, and do whatever else they need to do to get approved.
What advice would you give people that are, I don't know, maybe there's teenagers listening right now. And I think back to my school many years ago that they didn't teach us any of this stuff. They didn't, somewhere I learned to make sure my credit score was good, but I don't know when that happened and why or who told me that. However, but I never heard them talk about it in school, how important your credit score is.
Very.
But what would you tell the teenager that maybe is not tuned into having a good credit score? What should they know at that early age that's going to help them when they're 30, 35, 40, and so on?
Yeah, I love that question because I see it a lot where younger kids, maybe they didn't go to school or maybe they're out of school and they started renting an apartment. And then something happened, maybe they met their spouse or something, and they make that decision, you know what, I'm not going to make this rent payment anymore. They can send me to collection and I'll deal with it. It's not going to hurt me right now. Oh, it's going to hurt them. Maybe not right then, but 5 years from now, they may go try to buy a home and we see that you didn't make your payments on an apartment. You think we're going to give you $100,000 to go buy a home when we see that you didn't make your rent payments? So whatever you're doing now is going to affect you 5 years from now or 7 years from now, right? So don't think just because I'm not paying on this debt, it's not going to affect me. I'll be fine. It will 100% come and bite you in the butt.
People have children. I have grandchildren, and I'm thinking about them. Other people have grandchildren. They're 9 years old and 11. The last thing on their mind is their credit score.
Yeah.
I could see the boy looking at his tablet. He's not thinking about credit scores at 11. But as they get older, it's so important.
So important.
They need to teach us in
It's so
school.
important. I always make a joke. I saw this somewhere. I stole this. I won't say I came up with it, but it was saying, well, when I was 4 and 5, I should have been buying homes instead of playing with toys and cars. I would have been a millionaire by now, a billionaire, right?
Correct. That's a good point.
Home prices were way cheaper back in the day. But yeah, it's hard for a younger person to focus on what needs to be done later in life. But the car payment is definitely one thing to keep in mind. You do not need a $900, $800 car payment. Get you a reasonable car. Everyone needs a car, but you do not need that luxury car in your 20s.
Mason, you're getting a lot of people that come back to you in referral. What do you think people are saying when they say, hey, reach out to Mason Lee for your mortgage? When someone tells someone about you, what do you think they're saying? What are some of the things that
That's
people
easy.
love about you?
Communication. Communication. I think a lot of lenders, for whatever reason, from what I've seen getting in this business, is people are just bad with the phone. I mean, my phone is strapped to my hip everywhere I go. I'm a millennial, so I'm addicted to my phone, right? So there's no reason why I should not be able to get back to your text message or answer your call within 30 minutes to an hour at the most. So even if it's a weekend, a Sunday, a holiday, Christmas, my phone is open and available for those calls. So that's why I think my business has really taken off, is I'm a very approachable and communicative person. I think my main thing is to make mortgages fun. Again, people get so stressed out getting into this, they lose sleep, and my main goal is to make it fun. And you're looking at homes, and that should be so much fun. Just because you're having to turn in documents to get you approved should not be a stressful process. So I'm here to always talk with that person and talk through those stressful times. And again, just make it fun, make it a seamless process.
People are having fun just listening to you today, Mason. So
I
we're
hope so.
Spreading that word.
Hopefully it's not too boring.
Mason Lee, Union Home Mortgage. How can people reach you, Mason?
Yep. Mortgages by Mason on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. And then if you want to give me a call, I would love to talk with you, love to talk through your scenario. So 281-435-3294. 281-435-3294. Mortgages by Mason on social media. Look me up so you can see that I'm real and I close deals.
You are real. Thanks for being with us today, Mason Lee.
Thank you so much.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner Stewart Insurance, with a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers. Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with Stewart Insurance, John Bramlett.
Howdy, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Here we are once again. The fantastic information we get with each and every guest, each show. It's fascinating, I think.
It is, and this has especially been a really good show and a lot of wonderful information for our listeners.
No doubt about it. You brought Mason on board here with us today.
I did bring Mason. I was fortunate enough to meet Mason several months ago. His firm is kind enough to host the risk advisory group for HAR. They've got their offices have got really great meeting rooms, so they host a couple of those groups. And Mason is always there, always welcoming, always supporting the group, and that's how we got to meet.
Well, here we are. As far as insurance, John, you are known around the country, at least.
At least, yes.
For what you bring forth every week in the insurance world.
Well, it's maybe it's serendipity, but I had been thinking a lot about experiences lately, and that's really kind of been the topic throughout today's show, is the importance of experiences and how that can make a difference in someone's home buying or selling experience, and we see that a lot in our world. And I've had a couple of examples recently with prospective clients that I've been working with or working with members of our team on. Where while price is still important and premium is still important, and that's an issue, and it's not an issue that's going to go away anytime soon, there's still an element of the experiences that we're coming across. We were working with a prospective client last week, and we were asking, what was the driver that led him to say, I'd like to visit with you all. He had been in a class that we had taught, and it was just the experience that he had, that his current broker was unorganized and they were unprepared. They weren't. They waited to the last minute to get anything done. They weren't accurate in the information. They had addresses wrong, and I mean everybody makes mistakes.
Sounds like a mess.
But it was. I mean, and it was just was one of those things that when we were hearing that, I'm thinking, if that's your problem, we got to win, because we're not going to, while yes we do make mistakes, we're not going to make those kind of mistakes on a consistent basis. So that was exciting that we had that opportunity. But it's something that that you see a lot more of, especially if as Mason talked about and Diane and Leslie talked about this idea of interviewing clients and getting to know them and getting a feel that while, yes, price is important, there's always something else that's underlining. And many times it is that either lack of communication or just the experience itself wasn't there.
It's always interesting because the experience and as you're talking about someone that's not really doing a great job, well, it's an opportunity. Everything's an opportunity. When we see those things around us in our profession, it's an opportunity to bring something forth to elevate the situation. And also at the same time, it makes your company or whomever you're representing look better.
Well, it does. I mean, it's. I think you're right. It's that attitude, and how do you perceive it? Is it a challenge or is it an opportunity? Is there something that we can learn to get better at, or is it somebody else's problem? And I think if we take ownership as individuals and as organizations on the situation, and we have that attitude of how we can learn better and want to continue to learn and learn on a regular basis, and then have the attitude of it's an opportunity, then those things come into play.
I think it's simple as far as producing the best possible service and outcome for whomever our client is. That is systems and procedures. I mean, if we run through the same systems and procedures and go through the checklist to make sure everything's right, we're going to have less of a chance to make a mistake. And I'm thinking of an experience. I won't mention the company, but many years ago, I used to work at a hamburger company, and we had a system and procedure. There was one dollop of ketchup. The bun was in a drawer.
Yep.
And that was decades ago. John, I had a fish sandwich here before the show. It tasted the same as it did 30 years ago.
Well, it is.
Systems and procedures.
I mean, it is. There was a quote I read the other day that said, consistency is not sexy, but it wins every time. And I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking, actually, that means consistency is sexy because it wins every time. And then I was reading a quote from Tom Brady, the former quarterback from the Patriots and the Buccaneers. That's many consider the greatest quarterback of all time. And he talked about the difference between winning and losing, or success and non-success, is not that big a deal. It's just who's willing to be consistent on a regular basis and who's willing to do the work. So, I mean, it is that idea of being consistent and following those processes and procedures. But I would add on to that, there's an element of caring, and there's an element of genuine interest in what your client's needs are. And I think if you take those processes and procedures, that consistency, and you add on top of that genuine interest, and I want to make sure that you're properly insured, or you find the right house, or you get the best loan, enable you to find the right house. That's the real difference. That's the secret sauce.
That's right.
Not to mix hamburger companies, but
right. Well, and along the same lines, something that's very important is right now, as we speak, there's planes flying all over the world, and those pilots, before the flight took off, they went through the systems and procedures and the checklist, and if it didn't check out, well, there was going to be a flight delay.
Well, and it's not a direct line. From flying from Houston to Chicago is not a direct line. They're gonna deviate off their path due to weather conditions. We're gonna deviate off our path just based on things that happen in life. But if, as you say, if we know where our outcome is, and we follow those processes and procedures, we'll get to where we need to be when we need to be there.
And we talk about outcome in the world of Stewart Insurance. That is to be properly insured. So when we talk to a Stewart associate about our insurance plan, whether broker, E&O, whether it's for our home, car, the other end of the phone, if it's a phone call, we know that at Stewart they're saying we want this person to be properly insured, and that's the key. And
it is.
Work towards that.
It is. I mean, we want to make sure that people understand, and Diana mentioned this a bit, that, want to make sure that people understand the coverage that they do and don't have. And it's important to understand, based upon what that premium is or what your deductibles are, what is and is not included in that plan. And as long as people or companies understand that and are comfortable with that, then, in our world, they're properly insured. What we want to layer on top of that is this idea of a VIP service, or we call it jaw-dropping in experience, where people truly feel like they've been understood, that we truly understand what their needs are. Are they risk-averse? Are they not risk-averse? Are they just looking for something for coverage in case of a catastrophe? Or they want to make sure that they want to offset most of it onto an insurance company? Well, we don't know that unless we have that, that conversation. We want them to be amazed that when they're done, that they're saying, we had that kind of experience, and we're talking about insurance. We want people to be amazed. We want them to be empowered so they can make that right decision. And then when we're working with them, they want to feel like that we're the only person that the only client that we have is them. And it's not like I got to check this box and hit the next call. Every touch that we have with folks, whether it be working with an advisor, working with one of our service people, meeting folks through Real Estate Matters, our classes, the associations that we're active in, it's a chance to provide that good experience, to provide that, to build that relationship, and that's important to us. Well, if you would like to be properly insured, whether it be for your personal or family's insurance, you can reach us at 866-798-2827. If you'd like to have your business be properly insured, if you're a realtor, real estate broker, independent title and attorney agent, we can help you with your business insurance as well. And again, reach us at 866-798-2827. To learn more about us, you can visit stewartinsurance.com or email us at stewardinsurance@stewart.com.
And if someone's in Kingwood, what number should they call?
Well, we just established the new Kingwood hotline for Jeremy at the Stewart Title Office, and that's 866-798-2827.
That's what I thought you'd say. John, thanks for being with us.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
Well, as we wrap up the show, Leslie Lerner is back with Leslie Lerner Properties, with Learn More, and, Trek Commissioner. Welcome back, Leslie.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, here we are. What else should people know about all those things that you're doing?
I was just listening to John talk about insurance and what's included in policies and not included in policies. And Learn More is made for that. Learn More will tell you exactly what that policy says. So if you want to give Learn More a try for any of your documents or contracts or agreements, I would love you to try it. It's learnmore.com, and it's Learn More without an A, LERNMORE.com.
LearnMore.com. So give us an idea how Learn More works. What's the first step? Let's say whatever the contract is, I would have to, I guess, have it in front of me, or would I just...
It's a PDF, yes.
So I'm going to have a PDF I'm looking at.
Right.
How do I start the Learn More process?
So you get on the Learn More website, you drag and drop it in. It'll tell you how many pages there are, what it'll cost to translate it, and give you meaning for every single paragraph of that contract. It will then analyze it. It will send you an email when it's done in a couple minutes and say your document's ready to view. You can also share. You can also e-sign on that same platform. So it's really cool. Just by uploading your document, you're given that many things. And you can also set up templates. Like if you're a real estate agent and you send out the same form over and over and over again, you can set up a template and your clients can sign straight through there after they've understood what they're about to sign.
So you really built some convenience features in there, to say the least. But I'm also in admiration in that you simply drag it over and it could change the language. And it gives you a
100%.
quote before you buy it.
Correct. And it's a subscription-based platform. So it's very minimal cost per month, and you have chances to upload whatever you want that whole month.
Fascinating. And here we are in Houston, Texas, but I'm going to imagine that this is someone could do this in Ohio or wherever.
Anywhere, internationally or here.
Sounds fantastic.
It can go
Leslie.
from one language that is not English to English, so it can go either way.
Even it speaks Michigan too? I mean,
Maybe.
let's see.
It may have a little accent.
No doubt.
It does have text-to-speech.
Look at that. Well, Leslie, let's tell people, and also with Leslie Lerner Properties, you're helping buyers and sellers every day. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
LeslieLernerProperties.com or 713-489-9900. LeslieLernerProperties.com, 713-489-9900.
Thanks, Leslie, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And now, Diana Hefner is back with RE/MAX Northeast. Diana, welcome back. What else should we know about what you're doing up there in the livable forest and even beyond?
Well, I'd like to say that I also love to work with sellers. We talked about buyers a lot. They can reach out to me, and I would love to meet with them and do a CMA for them and let them know what the value of their house is and talk about the steps that we would take in order to get their house sold for them.
Well, let's give people an idea, just in case. Certainly here in Houston, maybe some people haven't been to the Kingwood area, even though they've lived in Houston many years. But if someone's outside of Texas and they're wondering, man, there's so many places in Houston to live. If they called and said to you, Diana Hefner, they said, Diana, tell me about Kingwood. Paint a quick picture of what they could expect and why maybe Kingwood should be the place versus Tomball or whatever else.
Well, Kingwood is a great master plan community, and that means that everything that you would need is within your community. We have our own post office. We have 2 HEBs. We're getting a Sprouts and a Trader Joe's, I've heard, which is very exciting for us in Kingwood.
People get excited.
We have a great school district. People move to Kingwood just for the schools, highly rated schools. Great community. We have a town center that has community-oriented events such as an Easter parade. We have a 4th of July parade. And it's just great community that everyone serves each other and welcomes new neighbors into their neighborhoods.
You never know. Someone from afar could be listening and they're going to say, hey, I need to reach out to Diana Hefner. Let's tell them the number.
My number is 832-715-4022. That's 832-715-4022. And they can reach me on my website, which is DianaHefnerSellsHomes.com.
DianaHefnerSellsHomes.com. Thanks for being with us, Diana.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I enjoy it.
We'd also like to say thanks to Jeremy Ragsdale, doing tremendous work for Stewart Title up there in the livable forest. And you can reach Jeremy right up there at 281-723-4001. That's right. He's doing tremendous work at Stewart Title in Kingwood. He's there to help you. Reach out to him, Jeremy Ragsdale. And now, Mason Lee is back. Since we talked to you last, Mason, maybe the interest rate went up, went down. We don't know, but we don't care. Buy the house now, right?
Absolutely. Buy it when you're ready, when it's comfortable for you. But one thing I always like to say to my clients is, because a lot of times, they'll look at me and like, man, this guy's young. What does he know in this business? Well, in the past 5 years, I've closed over 200 loans and 80 million in volume. So I'm here to close loans. And then I always say I'm your lender for life. I'm turning 30 this year, so I'm here for your next purchase, for your third purchase, for your fourth purchase, and all those refinances. So I'm always here to help. Unless I win the lottery, then I'm moving to Thailand. You'll probably never hear from me ever again.
Of all the places, why Thailand?
It's just a beautiful place, and it's cheap. I like cheap.
And if you hit the lottery, that's going to go an extra long way over there in
Oh,
Thailand.
yeah.
I'm
I can buy me a
imagining.
nice house over there.
Absolutely. 30. And let's tell people how they can reach you, Mason Lee, with Union Home Mortgage.
Yep. You can give me a call anytime. I don't have office hours, 281-435-3294. And then if you want to follow me on social media to learn about mortgages, Mortgages by Mason.
Mortgages by Mason. People can't forget that. Again, the phone number is
281-435-3294.
Thank you, Mason Lee. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett, all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you listening. Please tell your friends, and we will see you next week. You can go to Stewart.com and see how it's Stewart.com/radio, and you can see how young Mason looks. He's going to be turning 30. Looks fantastic, as all our guests do here today at Stewart.com/radio. We'll see you next week.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, for informative and entertaining information when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate, tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance.